Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by World Series of Fighting Bantamweight Chad Robichaux. Chad, how are you?
I'm good.
Chad, you got a fight coming up October 26th at World Series of Fighting 6. How's training been going for the fight?
Yeah, it's probably one of the better training camps I've ever had. My last few training camps were great. Difference, was I was fighting at flyweight, so I was really working just as hard to cut weight as I was to train to fight. This time I'm actually able to do a lot of strength training, keep my body weight on, and maximize my strength and speed. So I feel really good. I'm really excited to put all that work together in the ring on October 26th.
Mm-hmm. It was a while ago when we got the news that you had signed with World Series of Fighting. So how long ago did you know about this fight? How long ago did you know that you'd be making your World Series of Fighting debut on October 26th?
At a full camp, I want to say I knew for 10 weeks from the date of the fight. I had the 10-week notice. So it was got a chance to have a full training camp and really get ready and train for that specific opponent, which is always nice.
Mm-hmm. Who are some of the people that are helping you get ready for this fight?
My main jiu-jitsu coach is Vinicius Draculino. Vinicius Miguelis. He's a 4th degree black belt, and we actually competed in Strikeforce together. So he's a MMA fighter as well, and then the guys who I work with every day are Jared Chafee, who's also a pro fighter. He's a 4-0 pro fighter. And Matthew Wald is my Thai coach. And my wrestling coach is Jody Trantham. And I just got, great team of guys that here in the Woodlands. We have, a lot of pro fighters in the gym, a lot of guys my size. So it's really nice. When I trained my last fight, I had guys like Randy Couture and Brad Anderson, Olympic wrestler Brad Anderson, to help me, but we were way up in the mountains at 10,000 feet in Colorado, and there wasn't a lot of training partners. I had to fly guys in to work with me. Mm-hmm. So in this scenario, I got a lot more training partners, and it's really felt beneficial for this match.
Mm-hmm. It's good that you bring up Extreme Couture, because that was going to be my next question. When was the last time you worked with those guys? But is that how this deal with World Series of Fighting came together? Is it because of the relationship with the guys at Extreme Couture? And obviously, Ray Sefo, who's the president of World Series of Fighting, is a coach at Extreme Couture. So is that how this deal with them all came together?
No, obviously they got a strong relationship there, and there's a lot of guys from that within the. Seems like a lot of guys at World Series of Fighting are brought in through strong relationships and networks, which is why you had just a great staple of guys, and seems like very good attitude with everyone. But for me particularly, I don't think their relationship with Randy and Extreme Couture was the connection. Ali, who's the manager, who the matchmaker is for World Series, he's under Renzo Gracie, and Renzo Gracie and Draculino, my professor, grew up as kids and best friends all through their life, and so I'd say their relationship probably is more on that end, but my manager. Lex McMahon at the time, he had reached out and really got World Series interested in me. I ended up switching management, not knowing that the World Series was interested in them. After I switched management, they contacted my new management and offered me a deal. And we were really excited to jump at the opportunity.
It's been a while since you've fought. It's been well over a year. Your last fight was against Joseph Sandoval for Legacy back in May of 2012. So it's been a while since you've fought. Obviously, you had the little situation with the Will Capizano fight where you couldn't fight because you had a whole weight cutting issue that didn't allow you to be able to fight on that date. Now, I think that was in July of 2012, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have it in front of me.
July.
Yeah, in July. So we know up until July, but from July till now, what have you been doing, and what caused this layoff?
It's just finding fights, to be honest. Legacy was putting some offers together, but I knew that when Legacy started finally making offers to come back and fight again, I was already in talks with World Series. So it was just kind of waiting for things to come together. But there were some others. I tried to get some local fights, some easier opponents on smaller shows, but I just couldn't get an opponent. And so this is really the only level of competition that I'm having an opportunity to fight is at this level. So I'm real thankful for World Series to, the matchmaker Ali doesn't call and say, hey, what do you think about fighting this guy? He says, he calls and said, hey, this is who you're fighting. Mm-hmm. October 26th, you're fighting Andrew Yates. Mm-hmm. I like that. I don't like, and I'm not sure, I hadn't been to UFC, but it was when I fought in Strikeforce, it was the same thing. They didn't call and ask if I wanted to fight somebody. They just said, this is who you're fighting. Mm-hmm. And so I like being in that scenario where, guys can't pick and choose who they're fighting. You're on the roster and you fight who they have for you next.
Mm-hmm. Chad, back in 2010, you retired from the sport. Just curious, why did you decide to retire from mixed martial arts, and what brought you back to the sport?
I've retired like 3 times now.
Yeah, you're right. But
so, I just, I love this sport. I love competing. I'm 38 years old. Mm-hmm. I keep thinking, man, maybe I'm getting too old, but I feel better than I've ever felt, especially right now for this fight. I feel stronger, I feel faster, I feel more technical. I've been doing martial arts for 32, more than that, for since I was 5 years old. So, mm-hmm. for 33 years, I've been a martial artist. But when I decided to retire, I thought I was going to leave my career as a mixed martial artist to start that foundation with the veterans, with Wounded Warriors, and we started, the foundation. It ended up merging as part of the Reaver Foundation's Operation Warrior Reconnect. OperationWarriorReconnect.com is the website if you guys want to check it out. But I thought it was something I'd have to lay down and put aside to do, and it really wasn't. It was something that I was able to use as a platform. Mm-hmm. So, and it took me a little while to realize that in doing this, that I could take these gifts and talents that God gave me and has blessed me with to go in the ring and compete and use it as a platform. And I found that that's like a great combination. And veterans are inspired by it. A lot of them are gravitated towards working with me in our program because of my platform as a martial artist. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm able to scream from the mountaintops of NBC Sports and radio shows like this and to let people know about our foundation and what we do. Mm-hmm. So it's actually been it's worked and been a bit beneficial to our foundation, and it lets me keep competing in the sport that I love.
Mm-hmm. The reason I asked about, as you put it, your most recent retirement, the reason I brought that up is because about a year or so ago, we had heard a rumor out there that you were retiring again. This was, the final retirement because you hadn't fought in a long time. So during that, or, this most recent layoff, was there ever any consideration to hang up the gloves?
It gets frustrating. I got to be honest. I have been frustrated. Like, man, it's I know Sherdog has me at 10 right now to get a lot of my pro fights. But I'm 19-2 as a professional, and so I felt like I should be fighting at the highest platforms, and the UFC, for whatever reason, hadn't signed me, and I really had wanted to compete in this year for the UFC. I felt as a flyweight, I don't think there's anybody that the UFC has in their roster that contended with me as a flyweight. So, and so it was real frustrating. And so without the World Series picking me up, I was at the point to where I wasn't gonna fight for smaller shows. I had made a decision I wasn't gonna fight for smaller shows, and so I'm just really thankful World Series picked me up because I don't want to hang up those gloves. I want to continue competing. I want to be fighting against the best guys in the world. But I don't want to be that guy that's gonna try to keep hanging on to the sport and fighting in smoky ballrooms, mm-hmm. just for the sake of doing it.
Mm-hmm. You fought in big shows before. You fought in Strikeforce and you fought in Bellator. Now you're fighting for World Series of Fighting. You've been trying to get back to a big show for a while. Why is it so important for you to be fighting in a big show again? Is it the exposure? Is it the competition? Is it the pay? Why is it important for you to be back fighting in a major organization?
Yeah, look, like I said, I consider myself the highest level martial artist. I've been doing this my whole life. It does nothing for me as a competitor to go and and beat up on young up and comers. If I'm going to compete, I'm going to train as hard as I can. I'm going to be in the gym. I'm going to be doing 3 times a day. My diet's going to be perfect. I'm going to be doing everything perfect if I'm going to compete. And there's no reason to do that for a guy that I know I could be. I want to do that to compete against the very best martial artists, to bring the best out of me, and to do what's right for the sport, to put on quality entertainment for the sport. I mean, that's how I view this sport. To just go in and be able to beat somebody up in a little show for a few $1,000s is not my idea of the sport. So without that opportunity, I have no desire to compete in this sport. So that opportunity is definitely what drives me. That competing at the very top, being challenged, and I know as a fighter I should be like, I'm going to go in that ring on October 26th and I'm going to smash Andrew Yates' face in. But at this level, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen. You just know that you train your best and you go in there and give it your all. And that's the kind of competitions I want. I want to compete against the very, very best guys in the world and see what happens. And in addition, with the foundation I run, which is my number one passion, I want that platform I want to be able to use that platform to help these guys coming home. I mean, we need the support, and we need people to know about what's going on with our veterans. So I mean, the rate of 22 suicides a day and 90% divorce rate. Somebody's got to do something. So why not me? I have the ability to get out there and grab people's ears. So I'm going to use it for that.
You're back fighting at bantamweight after most recently fighting as a flyweight. Just curious, why have you decided to move back up to bantamweight, and is it because you can't make flyweight anymore, or is it because World Series of Fighting doesn't have a flyweight division?
Oh, I could make flyweight. World Series of Fighting doesn't have flyweight.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
Bantamweight, yeah. But I could definitely make flyweight. The deal with the Campazano fight, I didn't know at the time, but I had a kidney stone.
Oh.
And I, I'm in the weight cut, and I'm in the sauna, and all of a sudden, I felt like I got shot in my back. I'm laying on the floor. I'm pooping blood, and so I was like 1.5 pounds over, because so I was right there, and I was 120, like 126.5 or something like that. There was one title fight, so it was 125, so what I needed to make. But I don't think the weight so much was a problem as my kidneys shut down. We just had it was really embarrassing, and no one to blame but myself. But I'll be honest, I was like really embarrassed by it, and I felt really bad for Will, because Will, man, he's just an athlete. He trains really hard for his fights, and how much work he put in for that fight. And so I called him and we talked several times, and I just felt terrible for him. He can't apologize for something like that when a guy puts that much time in, and then doesn't get to compete. So obviously I feel bad for the experience, but I don't think it's an indication that I can't make 125. I can make that weight. Now, fighting at 135, I don't by any means feel I'm too small to fight at 135. I feel really, really perfect right now. My nutritionist was able to put the muscle on right. I feel fast. I feel strong. I feel explosive, and feel really healthy. So I'm excited to compete at 135 again. I mean, while I say I can't make 125, it sucks. It really is. It was hard for me. It's a hard cut. You just got to be very disciplined.
On October 26th, you're going to be taking on Andrew Yates. What are your thoughts about him as an opponent?
I mean, I don't know a whole lot about him. He's very highly regarded by his team. They really believe in him. He really believes in himself. He's a very confident guy. I think he's a big 135er. He's got great wrestling, and trains in Wanderlei Solo, so they have to, they're known for having some pretty good striking. So I think he's being very well rounded. I think he's going to be very game. He's 7-0, although he hadn't fought at the level that I've fought at in his pro career. He's fought some really tough amateur fights, and so he brings a lot of experience. I think with his amateur fights, he has 40-something fights, so he's no rookie. But again, he hasn't competed on that big stage yet, and I think I'll be welcoming him to the big stage and the big show, and we'll see how he does. But I feel like feel really confident in the matchup and the stylistically. And I think he's, not really going to be prepared for my explosiveness on the feet. I've heavy hands, man. Most guys look at my record and think that I've taken a lot of guys down and submitted them, but half of those takedowns were from punches, and I don't think you'll be able to handle the pressure on the feet with my striking.
How do you defeat Andrew Yates on October 26th?
And I'm just going to put from bell to bell. There's going to be 1,000 miles an hour of nonstop pressure, and whatever mistake he makes, I'll capitalize on it. I never go into a fight saying I'm going to knock a guy out with this combo, or I'm going to seek this submission and catch this submission. What I do is I just put pressure and nonstop pressure, and I could do it. I could put that pressure on for all 3 rounds for 15 minutes and drag him through it, and at some point that pressure is going to cause him to make a mistake, and when he does, I'm going to capitalize on it.
Chad, real quick before I let you go, do you have any sponsors you'd like to thank, and is there anything you'd like to say to the fans?
I mean, Enlisted 9, Colton Smith's company, enlisted9.com, they've been a great partner in helping me with supporting vets and then participate in making this event great. World Series of Fighting has also partnered really strong in helping us with the vets, so I'm really thankful to them. And my nutritionist trainer, Jesse Looper, has really helped make this the optimal experience for me in training. But most of all, just really want to thank God for this opportunity, and thank the people who support our foundation. If anybody doesn't know what we do, go to OperationWarriorReconnect.org or .com and check out what we do. And we're helping these guys find their way home, and we just want to spread the word and awareness of what it is that our warriors need coming home, because so many of them are suffering.
Chad, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it. Good luck October 26th at World Series of Fighting 6 against Andrew Yates.
Thanks so much, man. I appreciate it.